32 years old and I'm from San Antonio, Texas. I am currently separated, going through divorce, and I have one child. I have a son.
All
And
right.
this is Felicia.
Um,
Uh,
32, San Antonio. Yeah.
can you say that one more time? You broke up a little bit. Sorry.
Oh, my name is Felicia. I'm also 32 and from San Antonio, and I have 4 kids, and I'm married.
All right. Congrats on being married. How long you been married?
For about 4 years.
Okay. All right. Look, we talked about this off camera, but I'm just gonna bring it because obviously everybody who's watched this has never seen me interview with two people on screen. So basically, would you say that this is your your person, like your support person?
Yes, one of them. Yes.
All right. So Rhey said that she needed somebody to be on there for her support system, so she brought her best friend, basically like her life sister, on. So welcome to the show. Do me a favor though. Tell me about growing up in San Antonio. How was it for you?
Growing up in San Antonio?
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I kind of the culture is nice. It's oriented. It's slow paced, but I don't really care for it too much. I kind of want to move away eventually, but it'd be hard because my support system's here. So I don't know. We'll see what the future brings.
All right. When you were growing up, did you come from a nuclear household?
What does that mean? Like
Uh,
mom and dad and
yep. Like your mom and dad lived in the same roof?
no,
No. Did
no.
you grow up with your mom or your dad?
Um, I kind of grew up with my mom, but then when I was around 3 years old, I was taken away from her, and then I was adopted by my great uncle. And then from there, when I was 11, I ended up in foster care. And then when I was 16, I was adopted by my foster family. And yeah.
Okay. All right. So hold on, let's back up. If you're open to talking about it, do you know why you got taken away at three months old
three
or 3
years
years
old.
old? 3 years old?
It was like 3 years old or 5 years old. My mom was a crackhead and a prostitute, and she wasn't able to care for us properly. So I got taken away, and my great uncle took my brother and I in.
Okay. And then how old were you when you found this out that you were taken away at 5 or 3 or 5?
I mean, I kind of knew what was going on. So I was very aware of what was going on.
Okay. And then how was it living with your great uncle?
Um, Not so great. He believed in corporal punishment, so he was very physically abusive, verbally abusive, mentally abusive. And that's why we got taken away again. And I got taken away when I was 11 and ended up in foster care.
Can I ask, and it's up to you if you answer this or not. When it comes to the physical abuse, um, what 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 is it in Texas? What do they say as physical abuse?
Sorry, you broke up. What was that?
In Texas, what do they consider a physical abuse? I'm just curious.
I mean, I think it's like hitting anybody with a belt, your fist, of course, kicking, stuff like that. So
Okay.
that's kind of what I was put through, I guess, as a child.
And then after you left your great uncles, you said you went to foster care.
Yeah, I went into foster care.
What was your experience like in foster care?
Um, it was very, I don't know, I feel like I went through so much trauma that like my brain blocked a lot of stuff out. Um, but it was very like I was an outcast, because everyone knew I had 12 siblings that weren't really my siblings. Um, and I was really just a number. When you move from home to home, they don't buy, suitcases for you. All your whole life is in a trash bag. Um, and you get hand-me-downs, you don't get brand new stuff. Like a lot of people just do it for the money. So you're really just a number.
Okay. Did you build any connections with like other kids?
I did. I did. I became really close with two of my adopted sisters, but we no longer talk anymore.
Okay. If you don't mind me asking, what kind of trauma you said you dealt with so much trauma? What kind of trauma did you deal with?
Um,
Besides, obviously, the obvious one of you not having stability, moving from place to place.
Yeah, moving from place to place, I was very much like treated like an outcast with my biological family and my foster family. And of course, like I basically suffered from all types of abuse, I guess all of them that you could think of.
Uh, which one do you think affects you the most, like today? Like, I'm not
Um,
saying like a specific event, but like obviously there's emotional abuse, there's physical abuse, like which one do you think affects you the most still
I
today?
think I think the one that really stuck with me was mental abuse and sexual abuse as well. I feel like because I was molested as a child, it kind of turned on a button that I couldn't turn off, and I was like hypersexualized for a long time until I started to understand what was going on and like go to therapy for it. And also mental abuse because I was never really taught my worth. So I just, growing up, from 18 to like my mid 20s, I just let whoever do whatever to me. And I didn't have boundaries because I was never taught, like, this is what a relationship looks like, or this is how you should be treated, or that I have value.
Yeah. Uh, Before we get too far into, I just want to know, when did Felicia come into your life story?
I'm sorry.
When did Felicia come into your life story?
Whenever I was adopted by my great uncle, we met each other in second grade and we were like inseparable.
So even through all the foster care and everything like that, you guys still stay in touch?
No, we basically lost touch. And then around like what, 21 or 22?
Yeah, I think 21.
21, I messaged your sister.
And you messaged me.
No, I messaged you.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, and then I messaged you
Yeah.
on Facebook. And then we met up like when, like a few months later.
Yeah, but you were living in
I was living in Oregon for work for a little bit, and then I moved back, and that's when we met.
there was a time difference. So because we hadn't seen or talked to each other, I would stay up late and we would talk on the phone just to catch up. And but then she moved back to Texas, and then we reconnected and have been
Inseparable
together.
again ever since.
Yeah, we've just been together. Yeah.
Yeah.
So through all the stuff that you went through as a child, before you guys were connected, who was your support system then?
I would say my great grandma. My great grandma was there for me. I spent a lot of time with her to get away from, my uncle. And then my aunt, one of my aunts, she was very, supportive. We had our problems and stuff, but for the most part, like her kids, my cousins, and then her were very supportive too, and brought me into Christianity. So
Okay. You still identify as Christian?
I would too. I would, but kind of like lukewarm. I know I shouldn't be, but
What,
I'm a
what
lukewarm.
do you mean lukewarm?
Lukewarm means like you're Christian, like you still have those beliefs, but you don't practice. You know what I
Oh,
mean? Like,
okay. All right.
yeah,
Honestly, that's probably what I would say I am,
yeah,
because I try my best to like kind of like, walk the walk, but it don't always happen the way I want it to.
yeah.
It's okay, but I know where my heart's at, and I think the good Lord does too. Um, Let me ask you this: speaking of Christianity, how has Christianity helped you along the way?
I think it has done both. I think it has definitely damaged me, but it has also helped me in times of need. I think it was because growing up, like you're taught that it's black and white, and like for instance, divorce. Um, they don't believe, Christians don't believe in divorce. You work it out, and I feel like with some of the stuff that I was going through, it was kind of like, well, you can't divorce him for doing that. He's not cheating on you, or he's not doing this, so you can't leave him. But it's like, if someone's not treating you or loving you the way that you should be treated and loved on, um, I think that, you have all rights to divorce that person or separate. But because I grew up very like traditional and like Christian, it was like, nope, you work it out, even though you're miserable.
Yeah, for sure. I grew up in the same type of church.
Yeah.
But going back to high school, like before we get to you as an adult, um, how was high school for you?
um, it wasn't great.
Because
I
Felicia won't there?
No, well, no, we lost touch. What, like in fifth grade, sixth grade,
In sixth grade, yeah.
sixth grade. So high school, no, it wasn't that great.
But you looked completely different. Like I would not have noticed you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I did look completely
Different.
different. I was really teased because my foster family had 12 kids and we're all fucking like different colors of crayons in the box. We have like the whitest albino white and then the blackest black, and
Mhm.
anything in between. And it was like, oh, that's my brother, that's my sister, and everyone looks at you weird.
Yeah.
Um, and I remember there was one time one of my friends wanted to have a sleepover, and she did come over, and we had a ton of bunk beds, and she slept in the bunk bed. But my house had like alarms on the doors, so like if you go to use the restroom, it's like, beep. And then they had cameras in their rooms. So the next day we were supposed to go to Six Flags, and she was like, nope, I want to go home. I want to go home. You know what I mean? So it was like I was the weird kid. No one wanted to come over. Like it wasn't. I was very secluded.
You know, thinking about having grown up in a house where you had cameras in your rooms, right? And just like all over the house, and like you said, like the doors dinging and stuff like that.
Hmm.
How does that, like, looking back on it, like how does that make you feel?
I feel like a lot of it wasn't necessary, and I feel like I wasn't allowed to be a child. Um, I wasn't allowed to have like a normal childhood, and I think it affects me today too still, because it's hard for me to like connect with people. It's hard for me to like feel a part of something sometimes. And I think for a long time it made me feel kind of like worthless, I guess. Because I was like, I couldn't be like everyone else, so what's the point? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Did your foster parents ever tell you they love you?
Yeah, I mean, I had a really good relationship with my first foster mom. We still talk to this day. Our relationship wasn't perfect. I feel like mentally I did go through a lot living under her roof. And then when I moved from her home to my other foster home that adopted me, I think the only person that really made me feel sorry,
You're fine.
the only person that really made me feel loved was my dad, and he passed away. I told myself I wasn't gonna cry.
But let me ask you this. Having those situations, right, and having those people tell you that they love you, but really, like you said earlier, like you felt like you were just a number, right?
Yeah,
How has that shaped the word love for you today?
I think through therapy I learned what real love is. But
Mm.
before, I really thought that like love was transactional, and like I give you something, you give me something in return.
Like quid pro
Even like,
quo.
yeah, and even if it's not like as much as I gave you, as long as you give me a little bit of something, like that means you love me. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
it's very it's not the way to, yeah. I think it shaped a lot of the way my marriage went too.
What's true love for you? Like, what does that look like for you?
True love is unconditional, and it's you could do nothing for the person but they still love you.
Mm.
It's not transactional. They love you for you, not the way that you make them feel, or not the opportunities that you bring to them, or not what they can do for what you can do for them and what they can do for you. You just love the person for who they are. And I feel like I never really truly experienced that in a romantic relationship.
Even with being married, you
Yeah,
never felt that way?
it was very transactional.
How
I
did you
feel
guys
like
meet? How did you guys meet?
I was freshly 18. I was still in high school. I had just turned 18. And I remember a family friend, one of my adoptive family friends, um, he gave me an iPod. And I had never been in a relationship. I had never had like a serious boyfriend. I just wanted to see what was out there. So I got on a dating app. And I met, my now soon to be ex-husband on there.
Let me ask you this. How did he make you feel in the beginning versus how did he make you feel in the end? Like skip through everything, all the things you went through, but like because right in the beginning, right, as men we court women, right? And then they say that you're supposed to maintain that the entire time or progress, at least maintain it. Even if you don't, start doing more, you're supposed to maintain, right? So
Yeah.
to the point where you decided, I'm guessing you decided you wanted a divorce?
Um, sort of. It was sort of mutual. He brought
Mutual?
it up first.
Oh,
Yeah.
so up until that point, like what from the beginning to then, how did the feelings change? Like how he made you feel?
Um, I don't think he ever truly courted me. Like I said before, it was very like I've never been in a romantic relationship. I didn't know how it was supposed to go, so I just accepted whatever he gave me and whatever treatment he gave me. And it was like, oh, you link up, like I love you real bad and we go together type of thing. You know what I mean? And I'll just
Yeah.
take whatever you do. You could,
Mm.
talk about other girls in front of me. You could do whatever and I'm still gonna love you. Um, so I think that's how the relationship kind of went. And I kind of put up with like a lot of disrespect and like, um, I don't know, just kind of like not prioritized. And then towards the end, I think because I grew wiser and older, like, I started to really see like that this is not how I want to be loved. And he didn't have the capacity to love me in the way that I wanted to be loved
Mm.
because he has his own traumas that he's dealing with, that he's not emotionally available to give me what I need. Um, and he's not willing to like go to therapy and work through that stuff. He doesn't want to change. So he's going to leave to like someone that's easier, that's going to accept him the way that he is and, bring those feelings of like, what can I get from this person? You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like a new source of energy to feed off of, sort of. Um,
I think they have a name for that in the dating world. I forget what it's called though.
Energy vampire or something.
Ooh,
I think that's what they call them.
that's a good
Uh,
one though.
yeah, it's like energy vampire or like avoidance. I don't know.
I know they have like
Opportunity.
the what they call them, the serial daters, where they
That's
just
him
like
monkey branches. Like he monkey branches. And it's
yeah.
like, I think he monkey branched from his old relationship to our relationship. And he stuck around because I was stupid. I was his biggest dummy. And then, he monkey branched from our relationship to a few months in. Now he's serious with this other girl and they're like together 24/7. And it's like, I don't really care. I think I'm over that. I just want him to be the best dad to our son that we adopted together. And
Mm.
that's all that I really care about. I think I'm just over it.
Okay. Um, what I was going to ask you about him though was just did you guys when you guys decided to have a divorce, did you guys ever have like any conversations about how your divorce was going to go and stuff like that? I don't need
Not
details. I'm
really.
just asking for a reason.
Um, Not really. He just kind of checked out. So the day that he left, basically this is how it went. We kind of got into an argument because he wasn't making me a priority again, as usual. And I told him, this is not how I want to be loved. I think we should like take a break and you should go to your cousin's house and, chill out. He leaves, comes back, and he's like, I'm leaving. And I said, okay, I thought it was just going to be a few days. And then he just like completely took all his shit, left, came back, brought our son from my other best friend's house, brought him here and was like, yeah, I never loved your mom and I don't love her at all. So we're going to separate and we're probably going to get divorced. I never brought up divorce. Probably going to get divorced. And I'm sorry that I'm doing this to you. And I know that my dad left me and I know what it's like to be a child of divorce and, all this stuff. And then he gets up, gives him like a half-ass hug, hugs me, kisses my forehead, and then leaves. And I think I didn't break down the whole time. I think in my head I knew it was over, and I was like, I'm not gonna break down. I'm not gonna let him see me like this until he left, and that's when everything started just like spilling out.
Hmm. What's the like biggest emotion that you experienced through this process so far of divorce?
Um, I guess just mourning, because I always saw like potential in him. And I think that's what I was holding on to was like the potential of what we could be. Um, so I think that, and then learning to be alone, kind of. was very scary because, like I said, I've knew him since I was freshly 18. I've been with him since, till now. And it's like he's all that I knew. So it's like learning what I like, what I don't like, and just mourning what I fantasize our relationship to be.
Okay. If you think back on like all the emotions that you experienced, though, right, going through a divorce, which one surprised you the most?
Um, I think to the point now where I'm kind of confident in who I am. I think confidence really surprised me the most because before, I've always been like a kind of bigger girl. Um, and I was always taught, even in my relationship, like you need to lose weight or, I'm going to leave. I'm not attracted to you. Or even my family, like in the Latin culture, it's like you need to look good for your husband 24/7. That includes being skinny. That because, you can't be attractive and be chubby. You cannot be attractive while you're chubby, right? That's what you're taught, you always have to be thin and you always have to have your hair done and your makeup done and look good for your husband 24/7. And I think when I finally like did reels with her, I think we started like we were both like sad going through shit, our relationship shit. And then it started to blow up, and then it kind of made me feel confident because it's like, hey, like people are actually like they actually like me, like they really like me, like I've never felt that before. And it's like when we first started our reels, I was telling myself like, fuck it, I'm just gonna put it out there, like my people will find me, I'm just doing this for fun, I'm not doing it for anything else. And like if it helps one person, great. But it kind of changed everything.
What do you mean it changed everything?
I feel like I connected with a lot of people, like I have a lot of followers and like a lot of them check in on me daily and like they check on my situation. Like they're very, very supportive and they're very, very like we got you no matter what. And like I never had a community like that, even though it's like over the phone and social media. Like I've never had that before, and like it means so much. I do it more for like community than anything. And like I just feel like they just accept me for who I am, like no matter, I don't have to put on a mask anymore. Like I could just be myself, and there's a big group of people that accept me for how I am.
You don't feel like that's the same way in person, though? You don't feel like that people accept you for who you are only on the internet?
No, I mean I have a very small like it's crazy because I'm very much introverted. Like
Mm.
I'm very much an introvert. Like the only people that truly, truly know my personality like that in person is Felicia and my other friend Desiree. Like
Then why you don't just let people see that personality? Obviously, Felicia and your other friend, they like it. Maybe if you express show more people that side of you, maybe you get more, your circle will grow a little bit.
I think I'm okay with keeping it the way that it is because I just have
I think the online too is maybe breaking the ice a little bit
yeah.
because for so long people were just downing your personality. You were hiding it,
Yeah,
because
I was masking. I was like making myself like smaller so that people can digest me easier, including my ex. Like
Mhm.
I was always too much for him, or it was everything I did was wrong. So it's like going from that to like people actually accepting me for who I am. It just made it like changed everything for me, and it made me feel more confident in who I am, and it made me feel more accepted and kind of loved. It gave me like what I needed. Even though it's virtually, like I still feel that.
Yeah.
Growing that self-love.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
I'm just gonna rip the band-aid off and ask this question. Because obviously you've been through a lot. Um, you really had like very no support pretty much your whole your life. Kind of just kind of finding your way and just surviving. And then obviously God brought your best friend back to you. Did you at any point ever feel like, I know you said you spoke about like feeling like you're not worth anything. Did you ever feel like giving up?
Yeah, there's been times that I thought about suicide. Um, I thought about it as a child. I idealized it because I was like, no one really loves me. Like, why am I here? And then, going through divorce, the first few months, I didn't want to wake up in the morning. Like, I didn't want to be here. It was like the one person that was supposed to love me the most and accept me the most couldn't do that. So it's like, who else is going to do that for me? Like, I kind of felt like, why am I even here? But the only reason that I kept going was for my son.
Um, so you never had like suicidal ideations before your son was born?
Yeah, I did as a child. Well, I adopted him. We
Um,
adopted him when he was, I think, like 6 or 7. He's 13 now.
what made
Um,
you, before we get back onto the, the suicide part, what made you want to adopt versus having you're birthing your own child?
well, one, I was told that I can't have children. I've
Mm.
gotten pregnant before, but like couldn't carry to term. And then, sorry. Um, Two, I don't know why I just felt like it would have been selfish for me because of the fact that I was a foster kid and like I know what it's like. And like I wanted to show someone that like they're worth something and I know what they're going through. And I felt like I could be the best person to do that because I've been through what they've been through.
Uh,
Um, Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Now you go ahead.
Um, and so that's why I adopted. But it's like I don't think that my husband was fully in. Um, And so I was kind of doing it on my own for a while until my son was hospitalized. And then, my husband at the time was like, okay, I love him. I want this to work out. Like he's gonna move back in. So we got him back after he was hospitalized and things changed since and he fell in love with our son. So
Okay. Um, have you told him about your story yet?
my son, he knows most of it, but I haven't went into like detail for a lot of it.
Do you think that it's going to ever come a point where you will sit him down and tell him?
Yeah, I think when he's older. I think when he's, maybe 17, 18, I'll definitely tell him. Because I think he's going through a lot right now with like the divorce and everything. And I'm trying to be there for him, but he's like teenager, like I hate the world type of thing.
Yeah.
And I think we're gonna go through family therapy, but like right now is not the time.
Did you ever go to therapy after your divorce or has started?
Yeah, I've been in therapy since, I mean, foster care, they provided a therapist, but I didn't really truly open up because the therapist would run until our adopted mom, what we talked about. It
Mm.
wasn't very confidential, so I kind of shut down. And then when I think after I had adopted my son, it kind of like triggered something in me. And I was kind of like, what the fuck am I doing? Like, I can't do this. I can't be a mom. Like, and I was telling Felicia, like, I would literally grab a blanket and a pillow and I would like lock myself in the restroom and like just cry. Cause it was like, it was bringing up all of this childhood stuff. And it was hard for me until I started going to therapy and I started to realize like what was happening and what was triggering it. And I've been in therapy since. But yeah, I think through the divorce too, it really opened my eyes to see like the dynamic of the relationship and how it was never really true love. So I think therapy has saved my life and helped me through so much.
Let me ask you, what's like one thing you learned about yourself in therapy?
That I'm resilient. Like I never truly saw that until my therapist, pointed it out. I always thought like I'm just surviving, I'm doing what everyone else is doing, like I'm just living life how I should, but I never truly realized how resilient I was until my therapist was like, "Hey, like you need to give yourself props for the stuff that you survived through?" So I think that's one thing that I really learned.
Okay. Would you suggest therapy to everybody else?
100%. No matter how trivial, the stuff that you're going through is, I feel like it definitely helps you navigate like how to handle a situation for sure.
I heard somebody say one time, they said that everybody should go to therapy, even if you don't think that you're going through something.
Even a
Um,
therapist should go to therapy. Like I feel like everybody can use that. Like it's very, very helpful. Everybody should be in therapy.
yeah, I talked about my experience with therapy. I don't think I'll ever go to therapy, but I'm not against it. Like, I mean, if I had to, like, I would like own up and do it, but I don't foresee a reason why I would have to right now. So I'm gonna say that I'm not gonna go to therapy. I
Yeah.
tried to because my story. You have to wait for it to come out. I can't leak nothing on this episode. But I tried to go to therapy, but it was no good. It was like literally like with being in the prior service and stuff like that. I go through the VA, and they're terrible, terrible.
Yeah.
So let me ask you, to somebody who's going through something similar to you, right? Like somebody who is battling with their self-worth, battling with, just being feeling like they deserve to be loved, and grew up in a similar environment as you, like, bouncing from household to household, lacking stability, foster care, all those things. What advice would you give to them?
One, therapy.
Mm.
Two, I feel like there's a stigma around medication, but I've shared this online and I'll share it again. Like, I struggle with ADHD, and I feel like at one point it was kind of ruining my life. Um, I feel like the ADHD was kind of ruining my life. I felt like I didn't know what it was like to function as a normal person, and the medication like helped me to see like what a normal person should feel like. Like how your brain should function, or so. Like I said, I feel like there's a huge stigma around medication, but and especially growing up Christian, because they always tell you like all you need is God, like you don't need medication, like fuck that. Like, I've tried just doing church, but it's like that wasn't enough. Like literally medication saved my life. Like between medication and therapy and like getting you a group, a support system, whether it's friends or whoever, like doing that.
Let me ask you about something about church. I want your opinion on this because I feel like we kind of agree on this. Would you say that people in church sometimes they forget that they pick and choose what part of the like the Bible and Christianity they want to follow, right? So when it's convenient for them, they forget that in order for you to receive something from God, you have to do something, right?
Yeah.
You're not gonna just sit on your couch and get handed $1 million,
Right.
Somebody told me recently, I forget who told me, but they said, actually, no, it was a reel I watched. And I was like, it resonated so much. He was like, I realized something, and when I realized it, it changed my life. He's like, I realized that God's, yeah, God's gonna bless you, but in order for God to bless you, you have to give him something to bless. You keep saying you want a business, you want to be a business owner, but you haven't done any work to start your business. So how can he bless
Right.
you with a business? He's
Right.
waiting on you to bless you. Um, and so I feel like a lot of times it's the same thing like with your mental health and stuff like that. Like you can't just expect God to just say, wipe away all the trauma and you forget all about it. Like
Right.
he might help you through it, but you got to do some work too.
Right.
Whether that is accepted medication. So that's what I was going to ask you. Do you agree that, you can't just ask God for one thing, you have to do some work yourself too?
I feel like there's a very thin line on that because, there's one spectrum of religion where they say, oh, you have to work your way into heaven. But in the Bible, like there's nothing that you can do there's no good deed that you can do to get you into heaven. It's about your faith, right? But
Hmm.
then there's also like, that saying faith without works is dead. But then it's also like, well, God's not going to bless you if you're not taking the steps, like you just said, to do what you were called to do. So I feel like that's a very thin line. And I'm not a pastor, so I'm not going to go into depth with it, but I feel like you need like I feel like you kind of have to tread lightly on that topic when it comes to that kind of stuff. But I mean, who's to say that God didn't create a man to make this medication so that it helps all of these people? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
who's to say that? So I just, like I said, I just feel like there's this negative stigma, and it's like, oh, you take medication, like you're crazy. But it's like you don't understand. It helped me to function as a normal person. I never knew what that really was.
Did the
Um,
medicine that they put you on, did it have any side effects to it?
Yeah,
Hold on, before you tell me what they were, did they tell you what these side effects were before you start taking the meds?
no. So my first psychiatrist, she did not. And I mean it wasn't really bad, the side effects. I mean it was actually kind of good. I I didn't really have an appetite. But it was like the night sweats and then like the come down from like Adderall when I was taking it, the come down from that, like it was like I just switched into like this angry person, you know? But other than that, I didn't have any crazy like side effects because I know some of them make you have like hallucinate and stuff, but I
Yeah.
think you just need to like I think a lot of the times too, you just need to do your own research on it too.
Because I know for me, I feel like a lot of people feel it the same way as me. Sometimes the med they want to give you, the side effects are worse than the thing is curing.
Yes.
You know, like you might have like a headache and you take this medicine and it might give you like heart palpitations. It's like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I say like you got to do your own research on it as well because I don't fully put my trust in the doctors as well because who's to say that they don't give you a medication that counteracts with another one and then your kidneys go out or something, you know, like you just got to do your own research as well.
okay.
So
We
once
got we got to circle back because we kind of like went on a tangent and forgot the original question. The original question was, when you were younger and you were going through suicidal ideations, what got you through that, or who?
I think just staying busy. I guess through middle school, that's when I was really having it. I just threw myself into music. I was in mariachi, and then I played literally all the sports. And I made friends, and I had community, and I think that's what really helped me through that. Like I said, it would have been therapy, but I mean, our therapist ran and told, you know, your foster parent or your adoptive parent what you talked about. So I was like, I can't trust you, you know?
Yeah. What kind of sports you play?
I played volleyball, I played soccer, I played basketball, I did track, I did cross country, I did tennis.
Okay.
Literally anything that I could get my hands on just to not go home, I was doing it.
Okay. What was the sport that you actually really liked or loved?
Soccer. I
Alright.
fell in love with soccer,
What
yeah.
position you play in soccer?
I played forward, even though
Or
I wasn't really, yeah, forward and defense. I really like defense.
my entire life I played center midfield.
Really?
Yeah, I was supposed to go to Virginia Commonwealth University for soccer.
Really?
One school, yeah, I was like nationally ranked. I was like ranked in the state. Yeah, this little old black kid could play soccer. My mom had me in that like when I was young, like early. Like I grew up in Alaska, like the first part of my life. And we used to play indoor soccer. I think that's where I got my start at. I want to say there, and then it just like it's weird because like if you would know me as in high school, you would have thought that like my love was like basketball, but I didn't even really know like what basketball was until I would say I was probably like 7 or 8, maybe older. No, that's a lie. Maybe like 5, 6. Yeah. Um, but I always play soccer because like growing up in Alaska, growing up in California, like that's what you play is play you play soccer. You know,
Yeah.
basketball is like second or football, one or the other, you know. So
Yeah.
all right, so how's your son doing today? How's he doing mentally today with everything going on?
Right now our relationship is really strained. Um, he's really depressed right now because of the separation. And then with his dad dating, it's kind of hard for him. I think he kind of opened up and saying like his dad doesn't really spend a lot of time with him because he's dating. And then you know, I try to spend as much time as I can with him, but I think he's just really closed off right now and, you know, angry with the world. So he's in therapy as well. And I think I'm going to get us like a family therapist for him and I. That way I know how to talk to him because I feel like right now I just don't know how to talk to him.
I don't think you said anything about it earlier, but where was your dad at through all this? I know what happened with your mom, but where was your dad at?
My dad passed away when I was a baby.
Oh,
He
sorry to
got
hear
shot
that.
at a party. I didn't know him. So
It's still your dad though.
I know, but I didn't know him, so I can't really be, you know.
Emotional. I got you. Yep.
Yeah.
Um, let me ask you this. If you had to describe mental health in 3 words, what would it be and why?
Important, very important, because I feel like without you putting it as a priority, it's just your whole life is going to spiral. You know, mental health is very, very important. Um, I don't know. I don't know what other 2 words I can use. I don't know. I would just say important, you know, you need to prioritize your mental health. Yeah.
All right. And Felicia, you're here, so same question to you.
You're putting us on the
I
spot.
would say it's life changing, and it's draining. Those are the cons of it. But it's also very important to be aware and get the help that you need. But definitely, if you don't take care of it, then the cons come in as far as being drained of a lot of stuff. So that's how I would describe it.
All right, one last question for you before we get back to Rhey. Um, Obviously you know most of her story, right? And you know, you're her biggest support system. What like right now, like what do you really want to tell her? Like what's something that you would just tell her right now to like kind of like give her some encouragement?
Um, a lot of reassurance that she's a great person.
You're gonna make me cry.
A good mother. You're a great mother. There's a lot of things that have just come up, and you overcome every obstacle. And I don't know how you do it. It's very admiring. I do. I admire her a lot because she does a lot of stuff alone, and she'll refuse help. Um, and then she gets through it, and then she's like, I'm all better. And I'm like, girl, how did you do that? So a lot of it would just be like, you're just an amazing person. You're my best friend, and I love you a lot. You're a good mother, and whatever life has to throw at you for the rest of our years, we're going to get through it together.
Well, there you go. You can never say you got no support system.
Yeah, I do. I have one, and it's a great one.
Uh, I want to know, what do you want everybody to take away from your life story?
That you're not alone. Like there's other people out in the world that know what you're going through. So you're never alone, and you know, just to know your self-worth and to definitely like have boundaries. I think I never really had boundaries until recently. Like I started to really learn. It wasn't until like my late 20s I started to really set boundaries with my biological family as well as like my soon to be ex-husband. And you know, they don't like it. You know, a lot of them don't like it, but that's how I protect myself. And I feel like once I started putting myself as a priority, like my whole life shifted and changed and I was happier. You know, I was able to be what I needed to be for my son.
And where would you say you are right now in life, like mentally,
Mentally, I feel like I'm doing great. I feel like I
emotionally?
got through, huh?
Emotionally?
Emotionally too, I feel like I'm doing a lot better than I have been doing in a long time, right?
Yeah.
I feel like I've gotten through like the worst part of it, sort of. So I feel like I'm doing really great.
Okay. And I'm gonna ask this last tough question I'm gonna ask for you. And like I said in the beginning, you cannot answer if you don't want to answer it. All right, so you said earlier that you've been abused in every way possible, right? And then you said at another time today that you dealt with sexual abuse.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to ask you any questions to go into details about that, but I am going to ask, how has that affected like you like today, like moving forward, like with being intimate with another man or woman, whichever that's your business. But how has that like affected you?
Like I said earlier, I was kind of like in my early 20s, like I was how do you say like I hypersexualized everything. Um, and I kind of was like never satisfied. And like once that button was turned on, like I couldn't turn it off.
Mm.
Um, until like I said, I went to therapy and I started to truly understand like what was going on. Um, I think sexually to this day it kind of affects me because it's again like it's hard for me to feel satisfied with like what we're doing, if that makes sense. And I get bored really easily, I guess. and I want to try new things all the time. So I think that's the way that it affected me. But I'm learning to work through it. So
All right. And then what advice would you give to somebody who also experienced sexual assault or any kind of like sexual, you know, abuse, trauma?
mm, I think the biggest thing would be kind of tell your story. Like I said, in the Latin community, a lot of the times it's like they always want to protect. Most of the time, it's somebody that you know, right? Somebody that you're close to. My biggest thing would be tell your story, no matter who it hurts, no matter who it pisses off, because I feel like a lot of light should be shed on like who's doing it to prevent someone else from going through the same thing. Um, and I think also therapy, to talk about what happened and what you're currently going through, and like so that you understand, what's happening with you, your body, and like your mental health when it comes to it too.
Okay. And the last question for you today is just going to be, what kind of things do you do to kind of, besides therapy, besides talking to Felicia, what kind of things do you do for yourself to kind of keep you uplifted, keep you, have a positive mindset, a strong mindset? What kind of things do you practice and do?
Mm, I feel like creating content is an outlet for me, and a way for me to connect with other people as well. I don't think a lot of people understand how many DMs I get from other people saying like, I've been going through depression, but like this little reel that you created today really helped bring a little bit of happiness into my life. So even me being a dumb broad on the internet, like I didn't think it would affect people in the way that it does. And that's why I want to keep doing it, because it's like I if I can be like that little bit in your life, that little bit of like light, whatever you're going through, like why not let me be that, you know?
Well, there you go. Do you know how this all came about?
No, like I said, we were just two sad girls going through relationship
No, no,
stuff.
no,
And
no, no, not that. How,
oh,
like you being on the podcast, like how we met. Do you know how it actually started? How it came about?
yeah, our trauma salad video. Yeah,
I was gonna ask, because it popped up because for some reason anything that has to do with like mental health or trauma or something like that always stays in my feed, which is great. It's better than all the sexualized stuff that's going on.
yeah,
But I was intrigued. I thought that I watched the video like 4 times. I started laughing because the stuff is funny. Y'all, I like what y'all do. You guys make it comical, but it's real.
yeah.
Um, but y'all do be wasting a lot of food and stuff. So I just be
No,
like,
that we actually used that for Easter candies,
We
so we
ate
oh,
didn't
that.
waste it.
We
But
got that.
the actual
I
salad
seen
we
you
did.
did one with actual salad, and salad's my
That
favorite
Yeah,
food. And I
that
was
one we
like,
did waste. Sorry,
yeah, I
that
was
one we
like,
did.
yo, that's crazy. It's like a drought in salad too. So, but what made you want to come on a podcast?
Um, I always wanted to tell my story because I feel like a lot of people um go through the same thing, but they never fully open up because they're scared of pissing people off. They're scared of telling their story, and then like people feel a certain way about it, and they're scared of the repercussions. But I always wanted to tell my story, and I feel like this was a good way to do that, and it's gonna help other people.
You
And also
so
too,
go ahead,
sorry.
go ahead.
Um, Also too, like I got a few DMs that were saying like, "Oh, you should do a Q&A. We want to get to know you better." So I feel like this would kind of give, even though it's kind of deep and dark, like it'll kind of let them know like where I'm coming from and why I do what I do, you know?
But I think that it ultimately is going to help you because a lot of people see one thing I've learned with doing this podcast and doing running social media about mental health and stuff like that is that people, when it comes to mental health, people they support it and they want to support it, but they're afraid to be outwardly supporting it. You know,
Right,
like it's like I'll support you in the dark, but please don't put me on Front Street because I'm
right,
ashamed. Or like like everybody has a story, right?
right.
I try to get people to come be on the podcast. Like I not really try, I just extend the offer to them. And a lot of people say, "Oh no, I can't do it." Like, my story is crazy, or like my story is like the one that I really despise is when they say, "Oh, my story, there's nothing crazy about my story." Your story doesn't have to be crazy because your story.
Right.
I think I'm really, really hoping that one day I can interview somebody who has a great story, like no trauma. I mean,
That's not a thing.
I know. but maybe they'll tell their story and it be that way, you know, or just even if they had trauma, like they just come on here, they only want to talk about good stuff because I
Yeah,
feel like there's benefits in that. I feel like that people um need to see that there's still people out here living good lives because right now it just seems like everybody's just living shit. You know what I
yeah.
mean? You never had no other people offer you to be on their podcast?
No, I'm like I said, I'm very introverted and I don't really, the only people that know about my backstory is like people that I'm close to.
Mm.
So they would have never thought to, ask because it's like we don't know what you've been through. But I think if they did, I think I would get more offers for it.
You
Um,
might after here for like because
yeah,
like for me, I look at it like this. Everyone has a story, right?
yeah, yeah,
And I was talking to my fiance and stuff about this, right? Um, I was telling her about you guys, and I was like, I just feel like you guys have good energy. You know, like that's the reason why I was like, come be on a podcast. I didn't know, obviously, I didn't know you had all this going on.
yeah,
But I just want people with good energy because sometimes when I do the podcast, it's really dark and that's okay. But then it's like, I like to kind of like, we can go to that dark place, but then let's bring it back to like, a little bit
yeah,
of,
Yeah.
you know, um, I definitely don't, will never want to end on a dark place, you know?
yeah.
That's why I reached out to you guys. So hopefully we can get Felicia to come swap seats and do her story. Tell us how it is being a mom to 4 kids.
How do you
My mom had 7, so uh,
Damn, that's a lot of kids.
yeah, yeah, yeah. You gotta go watch her episode. It's the Mother's Day episode for last year. So
That's
um,
cute.
I no, I can't release who I'm doing this year for Mother's Day. But what's your thoughts on the podcast?
I I kind of enjoyed it. Thanks for having me. I feel like well, I hope that it resonates with some people. Um, yeah, I feel like hopefully, people know me on a deeper level and understand why I do what I do. And yeah,
Okay. What was your thoughts on the podcast, Felicia?
I think it's a great resource to help others,
Okay.
to let other people share their story and to be heard, but also let other people who haven't shared their story understand that they're not the only ones going through what they have gone through. They can kind of share some trauma with others.
yeah,
Okay. All right. So
yeah.
look, we got 2 last things to do before we get out of here. The first one is I'm gonna ask you both a question. These are lighthearted questions, not deep, not just real life questions, kind of fun. Some are fun. And then so after that, basically we'll switch and I'll be in the hot seat and I'll let both of you guys ask me one question about anything as long as it's not about the military. Um,
Okay.
so who wants to go first?
To ask you a question?
No, no. Who wants to go be asked this question first?
Oh, I guess I'll go first.
All right. So for you, it's what's a recent win, big or small, that you're celebrating?
A recent win, big or small. I got my 3-year-old daughter to school without throwing a fit one day out of this week. That was yesterday.
Okay.
Um, that was a pretty big win for me. I actually enjoyed my cup of coffee yesterday. So,
All right,
yeah.
there you go. All right, and then Rhey, you got the tough question. Sorry. I was waiting to see if a female was gonna ever get this question. Describe positive masculinity in your own words.
Positive masculinity is being able to open up and actually show your feelings and not be macho, like, oh, I don't cry. We don't do that. I feel like it's good for your kids to see you cry so they know you're human and that you have feelings. Um, and I think it's, I guess, being vulnerable with your partner and being there for your partner in whatever way they need you. Because I feel like a lot of the times it's like, oh, what do they say? Like you're pussy whipped or stuff like that, or it's just like, oh, your girl's calling, like she's always wanting you to go home, like you're the man, you wear the pants. It's like, no, my wife's my partner, like
Right.
we do life together. If she needs me, I'm gonna leave. I feel like that's positive masculinity.
I gotta ask you a question about that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Now, I can see your point and I can get behind it, but do you feel like at some point it becomes too doing too much, especially
Like
like
a
with the whole one of you're out with your guy friends and wanting to come home or keep calling while you're out. Like I get the whole partner thing, but unless it's like important, don't you think that that's like doing too much?
I mean, yeah, I mean, I think it also depends on like who you chose to be your partner as well. They have to be understanding that like you have your friends and you need to hang out too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it all depends on like who you chose to be your partner as well, like whether you're on the same page or not when it comes to stuff like that.
Do you think that's a reason to break up?
Yeah, I do. Actually, I think that if you don't let the other person have their own life and you're just like expecting them to be
Yeah.
consumed with you, it'll ruin the relationship. So it's both parties having boundaries as well.
Yeah, you got. I feel like I tell people all the time, you got to if you see your mom every day, are you happy to see her?
No, because you see her every day. Yeah, you got to
Yeah,
give
like
time to time to
you
miss.
got to miss each other. Like I I encourage all relationships um to have friends outside of the relationship. It's okay to have your mutual friends. I think that both parties need to know who your friends are, but
Right,
I think that yeah, like as a wife or a girlfriend or whatever, you should have your own friends outside of your significant other and vice versa. And
yeah,
you should be I don't want to say allowed because no one's controlling anybody, but I feel like it should be okay, not cause a problem for you to go out, once or twice a month
right,
out with your friends, at least at the
right.
minimum once or twice because especially if you got like four kids like Felicia, all her
It's a
friends
lot. Yeah,
all her
Yeah. You
friends
need,
are just gonna be going to soccer games and shit, you know.
yeah.
you
Yeah.
forget that you're your own
You forget
person
you're your own
and you
Yeah.
person.
lose yourself into motherhood or being a wife, and I feel like it tends to ruin the relationship.
Yes. Yes.
Last and final question for you. What's the biggest struggle and the biggest joy you find from being a mother?
The biggest struggle is being a mother to someone who already came traumatized,
Mm.
and learning to like navigate and give him what he needs. It's like shit. I'm dealing with shit that I didn't even traumatize him with this, like, and learning to navigate that. But the biggest reward is just, I think the relationship that we are working towards. Um, I think it's really beautiful. And like, he's literally like the funniest kid in the world, the sweetest kid, the most genuine kid. And I think, everything that I'm going through, everything that he's going through, like, it's worth it. Like, I would do it over again for him.
Okay. He's probably gonna watch this one day.
Yeah, that's fine.
Good. So what would you tell him right now?
But no matter what, how old you are, or where you move, or what you do, I always love you, and I'm always going to be your mom. And I love you.
All right, so at this point in the episode, this is where we get on, I guess you would say, Rhey and Felicia TV, and you guys can ask me one question each. Who's going first?
I'll go first.
All right, what's your question? Shoot.
When is your birthday?
That's the only question?
She's into astrology.
Oh, okay, okay. My birthday is September 25th, 1987.
Oh, cool.
Is Virgo, right? Is that a
Libra
Virgo?
gang. Libra.
Libra? I thought it was a Virgo.
Yes, I'm right on the cusp of it. I'm the 21st of September.
Oh,
So I
nice.
think the second turns into
Yeah,
Libra.
you're like a Virgo, though, right?
Yeah, I'm a Virgo.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh,
Right.
my question?
Come on,
Okay.
get talk deep.
How has creating the podcast affected your life?
It just reassured me that the people who are closest to you are going to be your biggest non-supporters. And I'm not taking shots at the people who live in my house. I'm talking about outside of the people who live in my house that I'm responsible for, um, it's wishy-washy, man. I love some of these people, but you don't do anything to support me. But I support
Right.
everybody who I know. You know, I support everybody. You know, if I don't know you and I see you got some GoFundMe up there, I'll drop you something. You know, or if you got a clothing brand, I'll try to either share it to somebody or buy something if it's my type of clothing. Uh,
Yeah.
I do whatever I can to support the people who I know because I talked about this on my episode, but obviously that episode's not coming out until January 2027. Um, I talked about support, right? And I just feel like for me, I feel like people, it's like what I said earlier, they want to support it, but they don't want to be on Front Street that they're talking about mental health. That's how I truly feel. Because when I have the one-on-one conversations with people, they're always like, "Oh man, what you're doing so good." You know, like we have these long conversations. Like, you know, I'm not a professional, but I'm a big bowler, right? Like I usually bowl like every Friday night, and even though I'm in the bowling alley, I have conversations with about mental health. If I meet you, that's what we're talking about. We're not talking. What else are we talking about? You know, like,
Yeah.
I'm not about to tell you about my love life or my children or nothing like that. So what are we talking about? So for me, the podcast, it's just kind of opened my eyes to see who really supports you. It's
Yeah.
weird too. I'll say this too. It's weird when people come on the podcast and then they don't even support their own episode. Like they won't reshare the stuff. They won't. It's weird to me. Blows my mind. I don't
They might
understand.
be scared of like who's gonna see it, you
Yeah.
know? Because like I said, I mean, this episode, like I know it's gonna piss a lot of my family off, but it's like it's my story and I'm gonna share it. I don't care who it
Yeah.
affects, who how you feel about it. It's my story and I'm gonna share it. Like,
And also, the last thing I will say to answer your question about how this podcast has shaped my life or affected my life or changed it, I've been big into like the fitness industry, right? Um, some would say very popular in the fitness industry, especially on the powerlifting side. Done a lot. Um, most people in the fitness industry know me, but this podcast has taken away from the gym, i.e., me gaining like 30 pounds. But,
yeah, I
um,
remember you telling me
huh?
that.
Huh?
I remember you telling me that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So like, well, that was also health reasons too. But I just don't go to the gym as much no more. About to get back in the gym, but I've been spending a lot of time in 2025, just kind of really building this podcast. You know, just trying to build some consistency with it, and shape my own identity with it. Because when I first started out, I thought the way to do it was watch other successful podcasts and mimic what they do, and I'll be successful. But then I started realizing that I didn't start my podcast to make money off of it. I mean, over a year in, and I haven't made a dollar or 1 cent. Um,
Yeah,
I I started my podcast to help people and provide a platform. So I had to remember why I started it, and then I said, okay, well, what am I gonna do to be that? It's my pod, like it's me, you know. So
yeah,
when you see that, you know, it's Mind Over Emotions, the podcast. So I've tried different things from sitting at tables to the setup that in the studio now, to barbershop interviews. Incorporated like we call it the trauma wheel. I should have had you guys spin it, but just different things, um, and I think now I finally figured out what my podcast is and how I want it to be ran and everything like that. And I think eventually people will realize that I've had people tell me that my podcast is too negative, too much trauma, too dark, and all that kind of stuff. And I'm like,
people are always gonna have stuff to say, no matter what you do. No matter what you do, people are gonna have stuff to say. Just do you.
yeah, yeah, that's what I try to do now. But it also makes my life super busy, very busy. So, yeah. Any other questions? I'll give you one more. No.
I don't know. That was just my one question. I don't have any other questions.
All right, look. Well, I appreciate you guys coming on, and Rhey, I appreciate you sharing your story. I know that eventually a lot of people are going to see this, and it's going to help somebody, if not a whole bunch of people. But as long as it helps one person, that's all that really matters, right? I appreciate you, Felicia, for coming on and throwing me a curveball, having two people on the screen. But most important, I appreciate you coming here to support her and help her get her story out there. And hopefully we can get you to come be on and share your story as well. And for everybody who's watched this, if you guys made it this far, hit that like and subscribe button. Follow us on TikTok and Instagram under the handles at Mind Over Emotions the podcast. If you want to come be on the podcast, shoot me an email to mindoveremotionsthepodcast@gmail.com or shoot me a message to the podcast phone number, area code 702-525-6118. We out of here. Peace.